Hello, I am Dr. Rakesh Lala. I am a consultant neurologist at Sri Devi Hospital and Ved Hospital, Kalyan. Today we are here to talk about seizures and discuss about the myths and the concepts regarding the management of epilepsy and seizures. So what are seizures? Seizures are nothing but an abnormal electrical activity of brain, which is usually a misnomer or a myth considered by a lot of people that it is some god's curse or some ghost trapped in your body. When seizures continue for a very long time or there is a tendency for seizures to come back again and again, we call it as epilepsy. Seizures in our country are most commonly due to infection, something like tuberculoma or neurocystic sarcosis, stroke, that is a brain hemorrhage or a subarachnoid hemorrhage, poisoning, head injury, or some metabolic disturbances like low sugar, low calcium and low sodium. Also, when a person suffers from low oxygen levels, that is hypoxic brain damage, they can have intractable seizures. Now, there are various types of epilepsies that we come across. Many of the epilepsies are classified as per the age or as a type of seizures they occur. For the common understanding, we will discuss few common types of seizures and various types of seizures that we commonly see. Now, the most common seizure that we see in our routine practice is a grand mal seizure or a generalized tonic-clonic seizure. Generalized tonic-clonic seizures are a type of seizures in which patient's body goes in an alternate phase of contraction and relaxation. After a phase of tonic contraction and relaxation, the patient may become unconscious. Usually these patients have tongue bite. They pass urine or feces involuntarily. They become unconscious after the episode of seizures. Many of them are not able to move for hours together. Many times these seizures may occur repeatedly. When these seizures repeatedly occur, they will usually not respond to any medication that the patient was taking previously. Hence, help should be called for and the patient should be immediately hospitalized. Then coming to a milder type of seizure, that is a focal seizure or a partial seizure, which usually involves one part or the one segment of the body, most commonly the face or the arm, in which patients will get focal movement involving one half of the face. This movement may last for few seconds to few minutes and would subside spontaneously. After having the tonic-clonic movement involving mostly the face or the arm, the patient may experience a transient paralysis of that part, which will recover after a certain amount of time. Then comes a focal seizure with secondary generalization. In these seizures, the seizure will start, that is the fit will start in one part of the body and may spread in the entire body and patient may lose consciousness. This mimics usually the previous large seizure, that is a grand mal type of seizure. After the recovery, the major point to differentiate is that many of the patients will have focal paralysis of one of the part. It is important to remember that not all types of seizures will present with generalized tonic-clonic activity or some focal abnormality. There are certain types of seizures which only have sensory symptoms or some autonomic symptoms. What we mean by sensory symptoms is patient may get sudden transient tingling involving in one part of the body, which may further involve into focal tonic-clonic movements and followed by loss of consciousness. One type of such seizure is called complex partial seizure, in which patients usually have a focal tonic-clonic movement or some sensory aura, that is they get a preceding feeling of a fit before the actual fit has begun. This aura is nothing but a sensory fit in which patient gets an unusual tingling paresthesias involving in that part, which usually undergoes tonic-clonic contraction, or some epigastric sensation, some unusual sensation like vomiting, like for example a sensation of butterflies in the tummy, followed by which a patient may become unconscious. This is usually called complex partial seizure. This is a very common type of epilepsy that we come across in our country because of medial temporal lobe sclerosis. Another type of seizure that we should always know is an absence seizure. It is very important to know about absence seizures because this is usually undiagnosed and missed for a very long time. This type of epilepsy usually occurs in the childhood, usually reported by the teacher. Teacher usually reports that your child suddenly, who was very brilliant in his studies, has become inattentive, doesn't pay attention in the class, looks dazed, always cannot answer questions in the class, whatever is being taught to him. What usually happens is these patients have very subtle manifestations of seizure like lip smacking movements, frequent blinking of eyes, or going into a certain automatic behavior. Like if the child is writing, he just keeps on writing the same thing without knowing what he's writing, and this happens many times in a day. Many of the patients we have come across who have these type of seizures, probably 100 to 200 in a day, without being ever noticed. It is a very easily controllable epilepsy with the modern available drugs. Patients usually show an excellent response and they recover completely, and they attend their normal scholastic performance. Now we will discuss about recognizing the symptoms of epilepsy when we are out of the hospital situation in order to help someone who is an epilepsy patient. So how do we recognize whether the patient is actually having an epileptic seizure? Usually these patients will have an staring look, they will look confused, they may become unresponsive, they may start throwing a jerky movement of any of the limbs and may fall down suddenly. Or certain patients start wandering here and there before the attack of fits come. They will appear dazed and suddenly they will fall off the ground and start moving violently, shaking their head as well as their legs. There will be usually an abnormal movement of the tongue, uprolling of the eyeballs, and once we see such a patient, now we will discuss what is to be done in a common public place or where we don't have any medical aid. First and the most important thing, we should be calm ourselves and we should try to help the patient. Try not to force things onto him. Try not to gather people around him so that it becomes chaotic for us to manage the patient. Not only that, we should explain others what is actually going wrong with the patient and try to get their help instead of creating a trouble for ourselves as well as for the patient. First and the most important thing is we should prevent or block the fall of the patient in order to avoid any head injury or any grievous hurt that patient may encounter because of the sudden fall. Not only that, if the patient is wearing a tie or a tight belt, we should try to loosen it. Try to loosen the shirt buttons so that he can breathe or he can be at ease. Also, not to panic when he is throwing a fit. Once we have blocked the fall of the patient and prevented any head injury or any injury to him, we should turn the patient, the entire body or at least his head, towards one side in order to prevent choking because of pooling of his saliva. If possible, we should try to cushion the head of the patient, as there will be violent jerky movements of the head which may itself cause head injury. Tongue bite, which usually happens in these patients, cannot be usually avoided, so we should try to avoid putting fingers or spoons or any objects, metallic objects or any sharp objects inside the mouth of the patient, because this may aggravate the choking and may choke the patient. Please avoid putting your fingers inside the mouth of the patient. Please do not give any fluids, any water to drink as long as patient is unconscious or drowsy. Not only that, even once the seizure has stopped, keep the patient in lateral position only, because there will be copious salivary discharge. There might be some blood because of the tongue bite, which may get aspirated in the lungs of the patient and may cause choking. Stay with the person till he gets conscious. Try to search for any emergency contact or any medications he has, so that once the patient has become conscious, you can give the medication immediately. If the seizure continues for more than 2 to 3 minutes, try to call the nearest ambulance service or the nearest hospital you know of, so that the patient can be transported to a hospital for urgent medical care. Because if the fits continue for more than 2 to 3 minutes, they are very unlikely to subside by themselves. Another very important thing, don't panic, don't be afraid, don't speak loudly to the patient, don't make loud noises, don't try to move the patient, don't try to make him sit upright because it may be unsafe for the patient may fall again. Please avoid any sharp objects nearby. Do not try to restrain the movement of the patient forcibly by pressing the head or trying to forcefully turn the head of the opposite side, as it may cause injury to the patient. The most important myth that I want to discuss today is, please try and avoid use of onion, shoes or socks and force them on the face of the patient in order to break a seizure. These things usually don't help. They may only cause choking to the patient and may even be fatal for the patient if he has lot of pooling of saliva, and all that will just seep into his lungs and he may end up with a pneumonia. Also, giving a metallic object like a key or a bar or a heavy object or putting wooden blocks in the mouth don't help the patient at all. This is a big myth which is being followed from ages, and we have to understand that the fit subsides on its own, and it does not stop by giving all these objects in the hand or forcing onion on the face of the patient. And very importantly, if it, as I already mentioned, the seizure does not stop in next 2 to 3 minutes, please contact a nearby hospital or an emergency department so that patient can be helped. Now we will discuss how do we live with epilepsy. Many of our patients come to us who are seemingly very worried because of the diagnosis of the epilepsy. They feel that it is the end of their life, whether they are going to get married or no. They feel they will transmit this disease to their children, or whether they acquired this disease from their parents. It is important to understand that not all epilepsies are genetic and they are not transferable to their children or to people who they are living with. Very important to understand for us is that epilepsy is easily manageable with advanced drugs or with newer medications available. Many of the patients who were not previously controlled on older anti-epileptic drugs can now be easily controlled, and hence they should be periodically visiting their doctor, take their prescribed medicine at regular intervals at prescribed times, avoid overexertion, avoid sleep deprivation, avoid alcohol intake, kindly make their peers, their relatives, and especially for kids, their parents should make their teachers known that their child is suffering from epilepsy, so that if in case they end up having a seizure, the teacher can take necessary steps, as I've already explained you in the first aid section. Also, it is very important that a person with epilepsy should not drive, because not only it is a threat for him, they are a threat for the other people on the road if in case they encounter a fit while driving. While cycling, they should always wear a headgear. They should not go anywhere unattended. They should avoid hazardous areas like being near fire, water, or do underwater swimming. And also avoid handling of sharp objects, especially if they have a propensity of throwing seizures again and again. Also, they should report if any side effects they encounter because of the use of the drug. It may be a slightest of the effect like excessive drowsiness, or maybe loss of balance, or any changes in their facial appearances. Very important that they should keep an identity card mentioning that they are an epilepsy patient, their whole identity, and an emergency contact number, so that your near and dear ones can be informed if in case you encounter seizure in an alien environment, like while traveling in a train or a bus, or you are in some unattended place, you are in some place where you are not accompanied by any of your relatives. Another very important aspect about the treatment of epilepsy, which usually bothers the patient, is that when I will be off the medication, or when will my epilepsy be cured. It is very important to understand that not all epilepsies are refractory, not all epilepsies are incurable. Many of them are easily controllable. For example, febrile seizures usually occurs from 6 months to 6 years of age. In these patients, usually controlling the fever will prevent the fit to occur, and most of these patients will go in remission after 6 years of age. Hence, there is no need for giving any prophylaxis or any treatment after 6 years of age. Another very important and a common epilepsy is juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. Although this epilepsy is very easily controllable with one single drug or at most 2 drugs, but stopping the medication usually precipitates a fit, and hence such patients may need lifelong treatment. So it is important to discuss with your doctor what type of epilepsy you have and how long you will be needed to treat or take the medication. And it is very important that one should not stop the medication without consultation of the neurologist or the treating physician who is taking care of you. Another very important aspect that we should consider is many patients end up having refractory epilepsy. That is, despite taking 4 anti-epileptic medications, their fits do not get controlled. Such patients should consult a specialist in epilepsy, that is an epileptologist, who can provide newer avenues for treatment which are available these days. And patient may be either having a good seizure control after the treatment or may get completely seizure free. Another very important aspect of managing epilepsy is once you are off medication, it doesn't mean the cure of epilepsy. You have to be observant, look for the recurrence of symptoms, and at least for next 5 years, unless you get any fits. And probably after 10 years of cessation of the last fit and the medication, you will be declared cured of epilepsy. It doesn't mean that you have to be scared of it, that it can come back anytime. It is just a precautionary thing. One has to be aware and take necessary precautions regarding his or her own safety. To conclude, I would say epilepsy is just another disease like diabetes and hypertension. It's easily manageable, curable. It's neither a taboo nor a curse, so don't hide it. Take your medicines on time, take necessary precautions, take control of your epilepsy. Don't let it control your life. Live fearlessly and don't let epilepsy limit your horizons. Thank you.